Join your fellow Starseeds, Lightworkers, and Experiencers at the 2024 Full Disclosure Now Conference, this July 15th to 18th. This conference will be a fun and positively life-changing experience for so many. In addition to 4 days and nights of presentations, there will be special event dinners, dancing, fun time on the beach, UFO night watch tours, film screenings, vendors, and more at the lovely Serrata Beach Resort on St. Pete Beach, Florida. Over 34 Montauk Project survivors, Secret Space Program whistleblowers, ET contactees, and psychic healers will be presenting in the name of the Full Disclosure Movement. The truth must be revealed if we're all to achieve our Star Trek future here and now. Get your event passes and book your stay now at fulldisclosuremovement.org.
You want to learn about CE5 and extraterrestrial contact? Download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.
From the Bigfoot or SQUACH.
What's up, guys? This is Mike Beavers from The Theory, and you are listening to Alien Strand Podcast, the dopest UFO alien podcast out there. And if you want to find out about me, just go on YouTube and search UFOs over UFO or The Theory with Mike Beavers. Stay tuned, guys.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. Well, we have a few that were pre-recorded here about a week and a half ago, but we weren't able to get them up on this audio platform. So today you guys are going to be listening to some audio from about a week and a half ago. We did one about Bigfoot, and it was a really, really good show. Now, you can catch a lot of these video podcasts on Rumble, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitch, and X. You can just go look for Alien Strand Podcast there on X. Just go to, I think it's at Donald Ledesma or at ASDP Don. You can find it there, or at Don Leds 1. That's where you'll find it. All right, DONLEDZ 1 or the number 1. You'll find it there on X. If you guys like listening to on X, which is AKA Twitter, there are some live feeds that we throw on there as well. All right, so please support the pages if you can. If you watch us on YouTube, click us a like and subscribe. Please do that. The middle is still on there for free. All right, so go check it out there. We're fixing to take it down here pretty soon. So hope you guys were enjoying it. I mean, you can still find it on Tubi TV, and you can find it on Amazon Prime, all right? Now, the middle 2 is out now on Amazon Prime. Go check that out, man. We're getting a lot of reviews on that, man. I mean, a lot of people are actually watching this film, and so many hours. We're up to like 30,000 hours already of the middle part 2 on Amazon Prime, which is wonderful, man, because people out there get to watch Disclosure as it's happening, all right? So this is what it's about, Disclosure, all right? Not about selling films, because we don't make any money on these things. It's neither here nor there. It just costs so much to do production and editing and all that good stuff that goes along with it. But we just want you guys to see the disclosure that's out there. Please go check it out. Type in The Middle Part 2 or The Middle 2 CE3 there on Amazon Prime. After you watch the film, please give me a thumbs up at the very end of the film if you enjoyed it, if you really liked it, all right? And if you really liked it, go to your Amazon Prime Video there on your app, on your phone. Give us a nice review. We really appreciate that, and that'll help Disclosure go a long way, all right? So today, like I said, we are going to play you the past podcast. It's not going to be as loud as what you're hearing right now, so you might have to turn up your stereo just a little bit. Unfortunately, the audio didn't come out so loud. I don't know why it does that, man. But anyway, this was about Bigfoot and about things that, of the unknown. So there's a lot of videos that coincide with this. Go to where it's going to say all my links. It's going to be on this after this podcast. Look at the information section wherever you're listening to this from, and you'll see, click that. It'll take you to the videos or the movies, the books, anything like that. And you can find, I'll actually add a link to this for the actual video. All right, go follow us on Rumble. Please go follow us on Rumble. And that helps us go a long way as well. All right, without further ado, I'm going to stop rambling here for a second, and I'll start rambling again. So it's the actual, recorded. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and give us a thumbs up as well if you really enjoyed the content here. We really appreciate it. Please share with your friends. It helps go a long way. All right. Without further ado, here comes me. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Ledesma, and welcome to today's show, man. It's gonna be a good one. Well, I've been out and about, just kind of getting busy doing everything that I do on my normal days, right? It's just been kind of up, down, man. Does it ever stop? No, it's life, man. It's life. Sometimes it kicks you to the curb, but it's okay. Sometimes you got to turn around, dust it off, and put your big boy shoes on and get going again. But anyway, we are live right now here on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Twitch. All right, man. And we are actually live on audio on Spreaker right now live. So after today, everything will be on the actual 28, 29 audio platforms, iHeartRadio, all the good stuff. You'll find this particular podcast on there as well. Thank you guys for joining me today, man. I really appreciate you guys. I know it's been a bit. Sometimes I wait a little bit, and then I get busy doing other things, of course, books, right? And I'm writing another book right now, and I'm editing another film as well, okay? So which is the middle part 4, okay? So what you just saw was the trailers. Well, actually, the part 2 is out now on Amazon Prime. Go check that out. If you do, please give me a thumbs up at the very end of that film. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way for Disclosure, all right? Now, part 3, that you just saw the trailer after that one, it's out already. But it's only out on Skylight 1 channel, all right? I'll post the links on here after this one. It's going to call All My Links, all right? Click on that. It'll take you right to the films, all right? Or to the books or wherever you want to go. Follow me on social media, Facebook, all that stuff. Now, I tried to put this on Facebook. Again, they said, nope, you ain't going on this show today. You ain't going to be on Facebook. I was like, all right, man. All right. It's all right, man. It's okay. But we're going to, you know what? Today's going to be an amazing show. We're going to talk about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever you want to call the big guy, right? Because that's what he is. And then how it kind of goes together with ufology as well. It's kind of weird, right? But and then later on, I'm going to read you an article that I found today. Well, it's real interesting. It was written like in 2015, but I'll get to that a little later as we go on. Today, I got photos. I got some videos to show you guys as well of the big guy, right? And then, if you guys want to chime in, and just put in your comments as they come through, I really appreciate that. If you're watching live right now, let me see. Let me look at my chat. Well, nobody's saying nothing right now, man, but it's okay. It's all right. You guys can go ahead and start chatting, if whatever you like what I'm saying or what I'm talking about Sasquatch, Bigfoot. All right. you can go ahead and comment, right? And if you like this podcast, please like me here on Rumble. Please subscribe to the page or whatever you do. Give a heart, all that good stuff, because it helps it go a long way. All right. So, what is Bigfoot, or what is the big guy, right? What is that, Huge bipedal thing, that people see all over the world, right? All over the United States. And in other countries as well, not just United States. They see it everywhere. And when people see this thing or hear it, it just kind of blows them out of the water. We're like, hey, I don't want to be close to this thing. I don't know if, I want to really see this thing. Some people get the EBGBs, man, and I get it. I'm the same way, right? I get the EBGBs on ghosts and all that good stuff, right? And they're like, well, how can you be a ufologist and you're scared of them? I'm not really scared. I just kind of, people are just kind of weirded out about stuff, that they just don't understand, right? Myself included, right? I'm just like you guys, trying to figure out exactly what we're seeing up in the sky, things like that on the ground, as far as Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and of course it's on my movies. You'll see the film on Amazon Prime. Go check it out, please. And people tell a lot of their stories about it, right? And not just this is about Bigfoot, but that's got like a paranormal alien thing, right? But who's to say and who says that aliens and Bigfoot don't kind of coexist or kind of ride on the same wagon? Let's just put it that way, right? If they ride on the same wagon, and that's a possibility, man. And when I read you that article, it'll kind of give you something to think about. Well, hey, maybe they do, right? And we always try to, to put it out there, like, what is this big guy, right? Like this picture you're seeing right here. And out there in audio world, this is a large, bipedal, huge, massive creature that's running, and they actually got a running shot off this thing. And, and you could tell the upper body is massive, and look at those legs, huge legs, right? And it's got a huge stride on it, right? And some people say, oh, that's a gorilla. Gorillas, even if it was a gorilla, gorillas usually are on their hands, right? If you kind of think about it, and they, when they're on their hands, they're almost like slouched a little more forward, and they're just kind of doing their whole body thing, right? This thing, what you saw right here, looks like it's in a full stance run, right? And these are the things that people see, like out in the Appalachians, Tennessee, especially around Alaska area, they're very popular up there. Washington State, man, up there by Oregon, it's a hot spot up there. People don't really think about it, but up there in Washington State up there, it is a super hot spot for Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, as you call it, right? And as massive as this thing is, you say, well, how big can this thing be, right? How big can it actually get? Or is it scary enough for me, right? Well, maybe it is and maybe it isn't. And I'm going to throw you a soundbite here with a video, so that way you guys can kind of get the logistics of, I believe it's a guy that he's kind of like back and forth with this Sasquatch, right? This is a recent one because I haven't heard this one before, but it kind of intrigued me to, what is this thing, man? And is he really talking to this Bigfoot, right? Possibility, right? And, why not, right? So let's go ahead and play this, so you guys can kind of like get the logistics of what I'm talking about here, of how, I'm sure you've heard of their sounds before, but, crank up your speakers, listen to it. If you're out there in audio land, crank it up, man, so you guys can get a good hear of this. Here we go. Let's play this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's those are the hoots and the sounds and the grunts that you usually get from these Bigfoot, right, or whatever they are, right? And that's a really, to be walking out in the woods and then you start hearing that sound, right? What really is out there doing these things, right? I don't know, and I don't know if I really want to know, but it's an unnatural sound, right? It's almost like something's trying to communicate with each other, right? And that's exactly what you're hearing right now. It's the actual communication, right? The scream, the yell, the growl, like they're speaking to each other at a distance, right? And a lot of people have claimed after seeing a Sasquatch or hearing these sounds that they end up encountering orbs of some sort, like a glowing orb or maybe a UFO passing by, or one reported in the general area after this. Now, between you and me out there in video and audio land, do you think that these Sasquatch or Bigfoot or Yeti, whatever you want to call them, do you think they're connected with UFOs? Do you think that it's a possibility that these things coexist? Well, they do coexist, but maybe that they're a species that are brought by a UFO. In other words, what I'm trying to say, kind of far-fetched, right? You kind of think about it like, how are they going to put that big old thing in that crap, right? Maybe, but there are some big UFOs out there, right? So, and that's the strange thing. Why is it that people are seeing these orbs, or how fast these things tend to disappear, right? After people witnessing, or they're just kind of blending in with the brush. Like, I'm going to show you this photo right here. Now, this photo is a brown Bigfoot, or if that's what it is, kind of, you can see all the kind of hair around it, and it's jumping into this brush. Now, some people have said, "Man, that's a firefighter, man. That's a firefighter. You could tell he's got an oxygen tank." Maybe, but that sure is a big, hairy firefighter. And don't get me wrong, I know they're out there. I know there's some out there that probably big in here, but it's just the intrigueness, right, of what we're actually witnessing, right? And when people see these things out there, they're like, well, man, I don't know if I want to approach these things because they tend to break these huge, 1 inch, 3 inch. They snap these trees like twigs, like nothing, and they chunk them across like nothing, right? So these things are massively. The strength of these things are just unbelievably strong. They're just huge, right? And you kind of figure, man, do I want to get close to one? Probably not, right? Probably not. And people are just are looking into the possibilities. Will I ever see one while I'm out there in the woods, or are they here in Texas? I saw a map. There is on top of the northeast part of Texas where it's kind of woodsy. We have hill country out here, believe it or not. Until you start going west, once you start getting, it gets a little bit small, little mountain. It's not real mountainy, but mainly on the east side of Texas, it gets real hill country with nice forestry kind of trees, believe it or not. So people have claimed to have seen them there as well, right? So here's a video I'm going to show you of this person that was walking, and they happened to catch a Bigfoot walking in the path, or kind of hiding in the path. Let's check this out real quick.
Landscape shot. He settles on a ledge, panning over the area. There's something dark about 100 yards away from him. The camera zooms in, showing what is undeniably a Bigfoot in frame. Mostly, it looks like he's just walking around, pausing to investigate this tree and that one. There it is, I say, pausing the video on a particularly clear shot of the creature. My mother, she never wanted anything to do with it, and I know you don't know my dad, but he's a real quiet guy. Didn't want this getting out because he didn't want the attention. It got put into a mountain of old tapes in the basement, staying there about 5 years before I went through a bunch of old family movies. I forget why I was looking through them. A school project, maybe? Anyways, I fished it out, watched it once, and the whole tape got jammed in the VCR. I hit the play button, letting the rest of the video roll. The creature vanishes into the trees. My dad goes back to his scenery shot like nothing happened. I continued talking while the footage played. I convinced my parents to let me destroy the VCR to get the tape out, but when I did, the film was all jacked up, torn, and pulled out of the deck. It took me 3 months to get enough money saved up to get our local guy to salvage it into a readable DVD format. And, well, I'm in college now. I had honestly forgotten about this for a little bit, but now that I've found it again, I'm determined not to let it go to waste.
All right. So there you saw some footage of a girl that her dad said he had seen one, got lost in the tapes for many, many years. She ended up fishing it out. You heard the whole story, right? So, and in the background in audio land, there's a Bigfoot, probably maybe about 300 yards down. It looks like in a small valley in a real woodsy pine area, to where you could see one kind of mustering around down there looking for something, maybe food. It's a possibility. It didn't look like it was harming anybody or doing anything to anybody. It didn't look like a bear. It has more of a humanistic a movement to it, right? Usually bears or animals, they have their own way of moving. We know when those are animals, but when it has sort of a human factor to it, we have a different kind of movement because our joints are different, right? And our shoulders and our backs and legs and hindquarters, right? We can stand up straight, move, walk, run, and than a bear or a gorilla. All right. So, and it's almost the same, but we tend to have more of a upstride kind of a walk, right? Or just when we present ourselves as human beings. But as massive as this Bigfoot is, right, or Sasquatch, why not be, walk as tall as it is, right? Because it is in its own domain, really, in reality, and we tend to walk in their areas, right? Because this is their land, really, in reality, right? A lot of them are very territorial. And we do know this because a lot of times the regular people that come across something like this, they end up getting stones, boulders, even freaking trees that get thrown at them, right? So, what is this thing telling you? You're in my space, right? You're in my space. I don't want you in my space. So why not, protect itself, and then run when it needs to run and get away, right? If it doesn't want you to see it, and then they disappear as fast as they do, right? A lot of times say they almost blend in with their environment. Why not? Why not? Like a camouflage of some sort. And that's what a lot of people have noticed about these Bigfoot or Sasquatch, or Yeti, whatever, Yeti in the snow, right? Where they're always in snow areas. These things are white. They say that they see their massive structures and they're white. Their hair is white, like a polar bear, right? It's acclimated itself to the region, right? So it has made itself to where it can blend in, right? So why not, right? Well, us as humans are the same way, right? Higher climates, people are lighter skinned, whatever, because it's cold or not, or some people don't get enough sun. It's our skin colors kind of go by that, where we are in different areas of the world, where we've known even by Homo sapiens or Homo sapiens as we are today, right? So we kind of go back, and you have to think about how these things are actually blending in with the forestry and how they're smart, right? They speak to each other, right? So they do have a humanistic kind of thing, right? Of course, we know animals speak to each other in their own way, as well as these things do as well. And it's very rare to find one that is deceased. So I don't know if you remember the eruption that happened during Mount St. Helens. I have thrown this out before, but there's this one picture that floats around, which is this one right here. So this is a picture of a dead female Bigfoot or Sasquatch out there in the audio world. It's laying in the snow, right? And it's kind of it's not kind of, it is, it's deceased, right? But what happened was, they say that this happened right after the blast of Mount St. Helens up in Washington. This is where this one here was found, right? So they're thinking the what do you call that, blast, ecoplastic, or whatever that is. I can't remember the name off the bat, but it probably, it couldn't breathe. It might have died, but it doesn't look as burned as we would figure it is. But it's kind of hard to tell if that's snow around it or ash, right? And it just looked like something hit it really hard and it just died right there. So that's why they figured it had happened during the eruption of Mount St. Helens, right? Because they found it right there in that area, probably a year later or so. But it's cold up there, and it probably just kind of preserved itself up there with the snow and stuff. Because there's still ice caps up there. If you go around, even this time of year, you're going to find ice caps up there. So they might have found it at that particular time, right? And then you do have the kind of Bigfoot or whatever they are that kind of give you that those peekaboo moments, right? Where they look behind a tree and they're looking at you, right? Like this guy right here, showing you a picture of one kind of behind a tree. Look at how massive this thing is. Look how huge it is. Massive upper body, right? So in the video, I'm zooming in. You see this thing kind of behind a tree. It's kind of in the middle of the tree. It's not really hiding. It's standing there. But the photographer or videographer, whoever caught this, is actually able to, grab this still of it and probably hightailed it the hell out of there pretty darn quick, right? Which we would have all probably did, right, at the same time. And that's what these things are, right? That's what they do. They're inquisitive about us as we are them, right? Almost like the extraterrestrials, right? If you kind of think about it. Extraterrestrials, same way. You catch these little things kind of peeking in the windows, or they're behind a tree, and they're in the brush and they're looking. So it's basically the same concept, man. Same concept that these things have. So why not them be connected or together in that sense? I think they are. I really do. I really do think they're sort of connected, right? And I'm gonna throw this video at you real quick. But this video has to do with extraterrestrials, okay? So I'm gonna just kind of throw this in the mix real quick. Short video, probably about, let's see, 1 minute and 1 second. So it's a guy that's talking about the extraterrestrials. We've known about him. He's a whistleblower. And about many species, right? And that's why I'm bringing this video up, because it has to do with many different species. So why not be different kind of species? Why not Bigfoot be one of them? Maybe, right? So let's watch this real quick. Here we go.
Have reports of several species that are here and have bases here. There's one species that looks something like a praying mantis. And then the short grays are the ones that you see in the cartoons. The tall grays look much different. They look more like humans. The Nordic blondes, for example, are so similar to humans that they can walk down the street and not be detected. There had, in fact, been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and extraterrestrials from other star systems. I decided to go public and say, for the first time, of anyone of cabinet rank from the G8 group of countries, that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over your head, and started back engineering and spending a lot of money on it soon after the crashes.
The crashes hit. Where do you think he's going there? Yeah, Roswell, right? So, and this stuff's been happening for a long time, right? So why not these things be mixed in together? If he's telling you as a whistleblower that, we've been involved with a lot of this stuff, right? So why not Bigfoot in the mix? And that's the crazy part, right? Why people see this thing so much that they just, you know, it freaks them out. It does. And it freaks me out as well. I guess it would anybody, really, in reality. So I'm going to read this to you. It's an article. It's short, but I'm going to read this to you. You won't be able to see it on screen, but I'm going to show you a couple of Bigfoot pictures as we go. Same ones, but just listen to what I'm saying here. This is about UFOs and Sasquatch being within the same realm, right? So let me read this to you real quick. This is from that 2015 article that I was telling you about. And it says, is Bigfoot an extraterrestrial visitor? Is it possible that the creature known as Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or by a number of different names over the world, is an interdimensional traveler? That's the theory now. And we play with both Bigfoot and UFO researchers have played that heavily into discussions, right? Also, paranormal researcher William Hall at a convention talks about ghosts and said paranormal world is a whole different world connected than people realize, right? But in the beginning, to change at least perspective involved a level of research, right? So it says, he begins as a paranormal researcher with UFOs and aliens and so many classic signs from human encounters with other worldly beings, ghosts, aliens, and Bigfoot have similar signs as being disappearing beings. That's what he's saying. Fast-moving object or strange lights, I said. As a result, many of they're starting to think that the fields are binded together, right? It used to be that UFO people didn't talk about ghosts. They were a little weird, and nobody would talk to the Bigfoot people because they thought they were crazy, Paul said. I found out we cannot continue to do that. In reality, quantum physics is leading us there, right? They've been documenting these things since the 1800s. I'm talking about Bigfoot, orbs, and since 1973. Grabbing a hold of Bigfoot hunters back in the day, reporting run-ins with known as the strange orbs as well. This is in 1973. It says those are fast-moving lights, and I think that they are alien in nature, but have been seen and associated with Bigfoot as well. They believe that the Bigfoot is a multi-dimensional, travels in multi-dimensional portals, right? To where it'll coexist the same way as a extraterrestrial, right? So that's that article that was in 2015. So it's pretty much telling you that, you know, they believe that these Bigfoot extraterrestrials all coexist together, right? Because they're tending to see these orbs as well, right? And a lot of these Bigfoot encounters. Now, I don't know of any Bigfoot, any UFO encounters. Like, let's just say we're looking for aliens, not Bigfoot. If they've actually, I like to see data on that. If they've actually encountered a Bigfoot looking for an alien. Seen alien lights in the area, things like that, and then you encounter a Bigfoot, right? That would be some data. If you really think about it. This is why it's so important for you to document everything that you do as far as a researcher, even a citizen, right? Citizen ufologist, this is what we are. Even if you're a Bigfoot researcher, a paranormalist, whatever you are, you're still a researcher in that field. Or just a standard citizen, not really looking for it. It happened to pop in your area. And that's okay too, but as long as you report it. And this is what we preach a lot at Alien Strand Disclosure Project. we want you to do that, because the data is what brings a lot of this information together to where we don't have to speculate so much. We can actually start putting the puzzle a little bit closer together. And then one day we'll probably get the answer. I don't know. I've kind of counteracted it a couple of times, but I think maybe we will as far as the Bigfoot. Now, I have one more video to show you real quick. This was a guy out there looking. He was just kind of documenting. He's a scientist or with plants, and he was documenting this huge mushroom that he found, right? And he came across something, right? That was kind of spooky, man. So I'm going to show this to you real quick. It's quick. It's like a 15-second video, but I'm sure you will enjoy it as much as I did. So check this out real quick.
There's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
Oh, hell no. I think it's time to go. Yeah. I'd be doing the same thing. I gotta go. Oh my God. So that is spooky, man. Did you hear how loud and how long that was? Whatever it was, it had a lot of lungs, man. I'll tell you that right now. A lot of lungs. Let's see. Joel Gabriel's out there. Let's see what he has to say. Just one thing I could say with curiosity is that there are hieroglyphic type of drawings in like caves, etc. A Bigfoot out there, a lot more than alien encounters. I think like that, right? Yeah, I think so, because they're huge drawings. I've seen them, right? It's more likely that Bigfoot areas and Bigfoots are interdimensional beings rather than spacefaring creatures. Interdimensional beings rather than spacefaring. Okay, he goes, I apologize. I guess he was kind of saying it a different way, but maybe. I mean, you might have a point there, you know? And I'm glad that there's people out there that are actually, you know, paying attention and studying these things, because, you know, the interdimensional part that you're talking about, and the spacecraft that come along with it, you know, with like you just talked about, these photos and hieroglyphs and petroglyphs, you know, that actually show these large bipedal creatures, right? Right. And sometimes they're just like standing there, you know, in the actual photo, right? And they're almost humanistic. They look so human as well, right? But those are the stories that we get as well from extraterrestrials, right? Extraterrestrials kind of look human too. Like I said, in a lot of my podcasts, some of them, I mean, we all see them. They have one head, two arms, one torso, legs, feet, hands, and fingers. Nose, some of them have it, ears, mouth, maybe, right? So they all have the humanistic properties. The same thing that we have, right? Just like the Bigfoot. And it's a possibility that maybe these things, maybe we're the aliens. Maybe these things were here way before us, right? And when we decided to pop along, right, we kind of took their area. Sound familiar? I'm not going to say nothing about Land O'Lakes, but it's hello. We as humans tend to want to dominate, right? Because we think we're the dominating species, right? Because of our technological advances of what we do, you know. Of course, they say, you know, a monkey can't make a car, a monkey can't make this, or you know, a fish can't make that, you know. Of course, yeah, we're more advanced, right? But then, if you really think about it, the extraterrestrials are way more advanced than us, and we are the monkeys, right? We are the zoo. Joel says, I used to hear similar sounds in Southeast Alaska. I believe you. Not identical, but very familiar. I think he's talking about the carvings. He says they're more alien than they are Bigfoot references. But we tend to take things as different as we see them, right? As far as, we're still trying to decipher our past. We can't. We always speculate on everything, We talk about the pyramids. We talk about the, Young Andres, impact, all that stuff that happened a long time ago. And then we find stuff buried deeper. Do you ever notice, and I say this over and over, you ever notice that everything they find now on Facebook, these archaeological digs, 10,000 years, 30,000 years, 500,000 years ago, 1 million years ago, carbon dating. At first, it was just 3,000 years ago. That's all I remember, from the pyramids and all that stuff. Now it's like kind of, I think a lot of times they're blowing smoke in our, you know what I'm saying? But it just makes it sound better, I guess, if it sounds older. And we can't really figure it out, right? Because we're all speculating the same damn way. Same damn way. Let's hear that again. I want to hear that Bigfoot sound again, that howl, because it sounded like it had some lungs on it. Let's hear it one more time.
There's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
Yeah. And it sounds close, too. It doesn't sound like it's far away. In other words, this thing is telling him, you're in my space, man. I can't talk. I can't speak your language. But what is it that we do as humans to catch somebody's attention? Think about this just for a second. What is it what we do to catch people's attention sometimes? Let's say they're at a distance and you're trying to, and they're looking a different way. Like, oh, I'm just looking. What do we do as human beings? We'll either whistle, right? Or, hey, right? So if we go, hey, what do you think this thing's doing? Right? It's making that noise, right? It's doing the same thing that we're doing. In other words, he's telling you, hey, get the hell out of here. You're in my house. You know what I'm saying? So that's a possibility. That's what this thing's doing, man. It's communicating. And it was probably standing right there looking at him. He just couldn't see it, right? And that's the scary part about that. These things are constantly watching you. They say they have these huge eyes and they're black. Their eyes are black. You don't see an eyeball like a white, any kind of white around their eyes when they're looking. It's solid black. Which means that their spectrum is probably different. Like the only animal that I know that's kind of close to that, yeah, because I've seen them really up close, is a deer. You ever seen a deer's eyeballs? They're huge. They protrude out on the sides, but they're black. They almost look black. And maybe that's why this thing is a nighttime predator as well, right? Because the sunlight probably bothers this thing as well. You know, extraterrestrials, big black eyes, right? That's what we see. That's what we notice. Big black eyes. See that? So, and they use that to block sunlight, right? It's just different. They can't see. It's just too bright out there. So why not these Sasquatch or Bigfoot? Why they have these big black eyes? I just wish one day we can get one and study one, but it's not happening. Even if they did, they ain't gonna tell you. Just like that video I just posted a little while ago about that CIA guy, that's whistleblower, that said, yep, they've been coming here for a long time. Even human looking ones, weird looking ones, the grays. So yeah, they're not going to tell you, even if they did have one. But what intrigued me the most was how this article in 2015 was saying that these extraterrestrials and Bigfoot kind of exist together, because you end up seeing orbs and stuff right after you see one. And that's what gets me. Do these things have some kind of maybe a supernatural connection, with the other side? The natives saw these things too. Back before we took over things like Land O'Lakes, they were coexisting with these things. That's where we got the name Sasquatch. Right? Some of them coexisted with some natives. Because back then, maybe in the 18s, 17s, I don't know, who knows, 1400s, whatever, everybody was just minding their own business back in the day, right? So they didn't really mess with each other. You go hunt that way, I'm going to hunt this way, right? If that's your food, I ain't taking your food. I'm going over here. There was no big cities, things like that. There was nothing back in those days. Nothing, really. The United States, right? So why not coexist with these things? And I think that they did, and they drew pictures of them. They called them by their name. And possibly, I think there was a story in Alaska of some natives as well that were actually would kind of bonded with these things. And then there are some bad ones too. They get pulled away. They would take people at night. If you're by a river, these are the native stories. People would disappear. You're in my space, basically. So, kind of think about that as much as I have on this podcast, about Bigfoot. I mean, this can go many different directions, right? But by watching these videos, watching these, reading these articles, watching a couple of these Bigfoot shows, and then go back and look at your history, really, and read it and listen to what they were saying about these things back in the day, right? You might end up connecting the pieces of the puzzle together, right? And maybe you'll get an answer as far as data and try to figure something out and give us more scientific things to work with, right? More information, really, in reality. A lot of these guys, I've seen a lot of these Bigfooters out there that they go researching, and I get it. I get it. There's some out there that just want to do it for the YouTube and have 10, 20 million people follow me on YouTube. I get it. And they don't really research. They're just looking for it. Maybe we'll get a peek at one. And then you see the commercial. What was that? What was that? Watch episode 2 to see what happens. Yeah, exactly. So this is what I'm trying to say. There's people that are actually writing the data down, getting all the information, and doing it for the good purpose of doing a Bigfoot researcher than going for episode 2. I did it with UFOs. I get it. But these episodes that you're seeing of mine are real data. Real data, man. It's not fake. And like I said, if you watch the middle part 2, you watch the middle part 3 now that I just released it a couple of days ago. So part 3 is out already, but you can only find it on Skylight 1. But watch 1, watch part 2, and then watch part 3. Because these are all stories of people that you're hearing and the data that I've collected. And I use that data to talk to you guys today, or to talk to anybody really that calls me. I use that data because the stories that they tell me, because they want people to know, right? And this is what I'm trying to talk about when these researchers go out there. They want you to know, and they want you to be prepared, right? And that's what it's about. Be prepared, be vigilant though, and watch your back at the same time, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast today as much as I have. You know, I haven't done one in a bit, but you know, this one has been lingering for a little bit, and I said, you know what, I gotta get it out there before I forget, right? Because I'm only human, man. So thank you guys for listening tonight on the audio. If you guys are out there in audio land, driving your vehicles, big trucks, 18-wheelers, whatever you all have, thank you for bringing everything to life. Bringing our expensive food to our grocery store. Drop the eggs down, man. That's enough of that crap already. We need cheaper eggs and cheaper gas. Right? Anyway, so thank you guys for doing that. Be safe on the road. You see a UFO, you see a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, pull over, man. Pull over. Film it outside your vehicle, not inside. We don't want to see the glass and the smudges and then you can see your VIN number and all that. Yeah, that doesn't work. Or give your camera to somebody, let them film it. Pull over where it's safe to do so. All right, that's what we always tell everybody and preach that wholeheartedly to everybody. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed the information. Please follow me here on Rumble. Give me a thumbs up. Twitch, X, YouTube, all the good stuff. We are not on Facebook. That's okay. That's all right. We're growing on these other channels, so we're good. All right. Catch the middle part 1. It's on YouTube. All I ask for, if you go to our YouTube and see the middle part 1 for free, give me a like and subscribe. All right. We were trying to get that page growing a little bit more, and catch the audio. 26, 28 platforms. You can even ask Alexa. You can listen and play this one back as well. You don't have to watch it, but if you want to, watch it. I'll have a link. It says all my links at the very bottom after this podcast. You'll see it there. Click on that to go check out the films or trailers or whatever you want to see. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. It was my absolute pleasure. You guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. And have yourselves a good night. Sasquatch, man. Be careful.
About CE5 and extraterrestrial contact. Download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.